Some of us had more pink than others.
Yeah.
Your worship, members of council, we are now live.
Good evening. Welcome to the City of Swift Current's council meeting for this 22nd day of February, 2021. Again, we're going to move through the speaking order because we're on Zoom. We're going to move through the order as follows. Councillor Schweitzer first, then Councillor Tuntland-Wiebe, Councillor Pluis, Councillor Friesen, Councillor Christensen, and last but not least, Councillor Wall. And before we go any farther, we're all wearing pink today. And so I'd like to explain to the people watching why. Pink Shirt Day was started in 2007 when a grade 9 student in Cambridge, Nova Scotia wore a pink shirt to school one day, and he was bullied by his classmates. Several other students noticed this, and they rallied their peers to send a message to the bullies. And the next day, many of the students wore pink shirts to school that day. Pink Shirt Day started because 2 boys chose to do something about bullying rather than stand by and watch it happen. Now the movement is worldwide, educating and inspiring others to stand together and take action against violence and bullying. So we're wearing the pink shirts today, but Pink Shirt Day is actually Wednesday, February 24th. Now, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Worship. I wish to amend the agenda as there is an additional request for an item to be discussed in camera.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I will be therefore looking for a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
Worship, I'd be happy to move the agenda as amended.
Thank you, Councillor Pluis.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Wall. Are there any questions about the agenda? Councillor Schweitzer, no. Councillor Tuntland-Wiebe, no. Councillor Pluis, Councillor Friesen, Councillor Christensen, and Councillor Wall?
Nope.
Moved by Councillor Pluis and seconded by Councillor Wall. All those in favor, please raise your hands. This motion has passed. Next, I would be looking for a motion to adopt the minutes of the February 8th, 2021 council meeting.
Worship,
Go ahead.
I'll move that we adopt the minutes of the January 28th council meeting.
February 8th council meeting.
Oh, February 8th, sorry. I didn't hear you correctly. I stumbled on that. So I'll say February 8th.
Thank you, Councillor Friesen. And a seconder, Councillor Schweitzer.
I'll second, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. These minutes were provided to us by Madam Clerk. Are there any questions or comments? I'm going to move through the speaking order again. Councillor Schweitzer.
February 8th was a solid meeting, Your Worship, and I felt the minutes chronicled it perfectly. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Tuntland-Wiebe.
Ditto.
Councillor Pluis.
No comments, thanks.
Councillor Friesen.
Nothing to add. Thank you.
Councillor Christensen.
Nothing, Your Worship.
And Councillor Wall.
Nothing, Your Worship.
Thank you. This motion was moved by Councillor Friesen and seconded by Councillor Schweitzer. All those in favor, please raise your hands. This motion has passed. We have a proclamation this evening, and I'd like to welcome Melissa McBlain, Tracy Prang, and Paula Sunquest of the Swift Current and District Kinets to the meeting. They are here to proclaim February 21st to February 28th, 2021 as Telemiracle Week. Ladies, I will open the floor to you to make your presentation.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having us with you. I don't know if Melissa's going to make it on or not. She had to travel this afternoon to Saskatchewan. So she may possibly still try and join us, but I do want to say thank you very much for allowing us to raise our flag this afternoon and proclaiming this Telemiracle Week. It's a little different this year. For 45 years, this is only the second time that we've ever changed the weekends that we are doing Telemiracle. COVID has kind of, thrown a wrench at us, so we've adapted, and so Telemiracle will be this weekend, the 27th and 28th, starting at 9 p.m. on Saturday night.
Is there anything more you want to add?
Can take
Nope.
over, Trace.
Okay, go ahead,
Well,
Paul.
it's going to be very different. It's going to be mostly done virtually. With the numbers being the way that they are, Brian has worked very hard. He's worked with Saskatchewan Health to be able to do the best show that we possibly can. 3 of us from Swift Current are lucky enough to be allowed to be able to go to Telemiracle this year. It was very strict. I will be on the committee for next year, so I'm shadowing this year. Paula is with our government, and Melissa sits on the foundation. She helps give away the money that Telemiracle raises. So we're looking very forward to seeing all the interesting things they've come up with on how to put on this 20-hour telethon. And then I'll let Paula speak.
Thank you very much, Tracy. Go ahead, Paula.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for allowing us to take up some of your time tonight. I don't have a whole lot to add. Tracy was kind of went in there and said a few things. Like she said, we usually have around 600 to 800 members across Saskatchewan that comes on Telemiracle weekend. And this year we're going to be working with less than 200 people and only 50 people at a time. So we're not even sure ourselves what the show is going to look like. A lot of the entertainment that you guys have seen in the past is going to have been, for the past couple of months now, they've been doing things and pre-recorded a lot of the show. So they're going to try to have some live stuff at the start of the show and towards the end of the show. So some of the stuff that you guys might be able to watch will be live at that time. But most of the time when everybody's sleeping and some of us are still kind of wacky enough to be there, that will be all pre-recorded from across Saskatchewan. The one thing that COVID, I guess, on a positive side has allowed, there has been many clubs and many people who can't travel to go and participate in Telemiracle. So with the technology, if it works, it has allowed pretty much anybody in any corner of our province to be able to volunteer through virtual and to send in something about their clubs. So I guess the one positive way of looking at it is we might have some faces during the show that we haven't seen in an extremely long time. So with that being said, one of the biggest things is fellowship for kinsmen and kinettes, and we're not even allowed to hug this weekend. So I am very sad.
Thank you very much.
That's everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul, and thank you, Tracy. I'm going to go through the order again in case there's some questions from the councillors, if you don't mind answering them. Councillor Schweitzer, do you have anything you'd like to ask the ladies?
I do. Thank you very much, Your Worship, and good to see you again, Tracy and Paula. How's fundraising been for Telemiracle this year? Because I would imagine that COVID has presented a few challenges, eh?
I'll touch on that quickly. Luckily, Swift Current is amazing whenever we do any sort of fundraiser. So we had a staycation for Sweethearts Day. We had great success. We actually are able to give a bigger donation this year than we normally can. So for us, it's worked out great. For others, not so great. It's been very, very difficult. There is some clubs that usually raise a lot of money that just don't have the funds this year. The need is going to be there. Saskatchewan relies on Telemiracle, so we hope everybody rings those phones.
Right on. It's good to hear that you guys have persevered and raised some money. In terms of the, I always look forward to the local check presentation on Telemiracle. Do you have any idea when the locals might be popping up on the broadcast this year?
I don't have a time yet. We did put in to go in Sunday afternoon. Again, because there's going to be very few live presentations, I believe that you can look for us sometime Sunday afternoon.
Okay, right on. Nothing further, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Councillor Schweitzer. Councillor Tunlin-Weeb, any questions or comments?
Hi, Tracy and Paula. Thanks for coming tonight. I saw lots of pictures of your staycation basket that you raffled off. That was quite creative that you girls did to raise money for that. So kudos for that. Do you have any idea who some of the headliners might be? Any recognizable names that we can look forward to this weekend to perform?
Paula? You're muted.
You're muted, Paula.
Honestly, no, I don't know of the lineup. I'm only part of the government, so I'm not allowed to know any of this. Tracy's on the shadow committee. She's probably going to be the one that can answer that.
I think you can look forward to seeing a lot of the same folks that have been around for a while. I'm terrible with names. Beverly Mahood will be one of them. Jeffrey and Jill Straker. Sorry, I can't answer more than that, but I think there will be a lot of talent through the Saskatoon and Regina performances that they have been doing for the last few months. So I hope there's lots of fun and new entertainment for everyone.
There always is. Good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Councillor Pluis, do you have any questions or comments of the ladies tonight?
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. Ladies, thanks for attending virtually to our council meeting tonight. Last year and the last few years have, really hit home for most of us, I think, on council and probably throughout the entire community that volunteers truly make this world go round. And that's particularly true in Saskatchewan. We're a bit of a unique place. We've got, not that many people in a pretty big landmass, and we have all the same needs as lots of other, areas of the country. But not lots of other areas of the country come together like Saskatchewan does. And, the only reason why Telemiracle and the great work that we're able to do through Telemiracle in Saskatchewan is possible is because folks like yourselves give their time selflessly and, with no reward and no hope for a reward other than that warm feeling in your heart and maybe a pat on the back from your peers. And maybe occasionally, if you happen to attend a council meeting, somebody might say something nice about you. So I won't miss that opportunity to be that person to say thank you very much for what you guys are doing. I know that you're not in this for the big bucks, other than the big bucks that happen when we ring those phones. So just wanted to take this opportunity to say thanks very much. I certainly appreciate what you guys are doing, and I know the 1.1 plus other million people in Saskatchewan also very much appreciate what you guys are doing. So I wish you all the best this weekend. I wasn't going to say anything, but it's my 40th birthday coming up here in a couple of days. And on Facebook, you always get that notification that, if you can, you try to raise money on your birthday. And I don't know if Telemiracle is on there, but I'm going to go looking for it tonight or whenever the notification comes back up again. But let me just use this opportunity to say, hey, you know what, if you, not that there's many people out there probably wondering what they should buy Councillor Pluis for his birthday, but what I would suggest, if you are that person, is, Councillor Pluis isn't really in need of very much. So please hop online, ring those phones, and give to Telemiracle. Regardless of the reason, it's a very, very good cause that we all should be supporting. And hopefully none of us ever need those funds, but there are always those people who are in need of those funds. So I will certainly be giving, and I encourage everybody else in the community to do that. But thank you very much for facilitating and making it all possible, ladies. Wish you all the best on the weekend.
Thank you.
If I could just say one quick thing for that, Ryan. We don't get paid, but I will share a little story that Melissa shared with us today. She is on the foundation, so she gets to make those phone calls to people that have applied for funding. And she got to make a phone call this afternoon to a lady that gets a walker, and the tears and the joy that lady gives on the phone, and she relays to us, is the reason that we do what we do. So we get thanked every day. So I appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Tracy, for that story, and happy birthday, Councillor Pluis. And we'll all maybe put like $40 for 40th birthday or something like that. That sounds good. Anyway, Councillor Friesen, do you have any comments or questions of these ladies?
Sure do. Thanks, Your Worship. And I guess I'll get in line to, donate to Telemiracle in honor of Councillor Pluis's 40th birthday. So hopefully it shows up on Facebook and we can raise a little bit of money that way. I guess thanks, Tracy and Paula, for your involvement, but also to the whole KIN organization across Saskatchewan. A lot of groups might have said, we can't do it this year. It's too tough. We can't make it work the way we usually do. So we won't bother this year. We'll just cancel it and try and do it another year. But I'm very glad to hear that you're going to run Telemiracle and that you're doing it virtually as best you can. My question is the phones. So usually you have people on site, I think, in the building that are answering the phone. And so how is that working? Are they going to be all over the province when we call in to make a donation?
There's still going to be phones on site. I believe, Tracy, if I'm wrong, correct me. I believe there's 15 phones on stage, all physical distant. And there will be, I believe, 15 phones behind the scenes for us to answer phones.
There'll be 50 phones down.
50 phones downstairs in different rooms. So one of the things that SHA has done is the venue where we're having it has many more rooms, smaller rooms, but several rooms as opposed to the one venue we normally use. So we can segregate people a little bit more. So we will still all be there answering the phones. We just might not be able to be right beside each other.
Well, that's good to hear. Thanks so much. Good luck on the weekend.
Thank you, Councillor Friesen. Councillor Christensen, do you have any comments or questions?
No questions, just a comment. I'm just going to tag on to everyone else. I will echo what my fellow councillors have already mentioned and encourage everyone to donate what you can. Extremely worthwhile cause, and the need hasn't gone down. Unfortunately, we have to raise money a little bit different this year, but that's okay. We can do that. And other than that, I just want to thank you both for joining us tonight and for all that you're doing for this worthwhile cause. It's absolutely amazing what gets accomplished every year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Christensen. Councillor Wall, do you have any comments or questions?
Just a few comments, Your Worship. First of all, thank you very much for your presentation this evening. We wish you the very best. You know, I'm always amazed at the generosity of our city and of our province. We're kind of ahead of the team on everything, and it's very rewarding as a city councilor to know that we support these things. And best of wishes to you, and I hope you raise a heck of a lot of money.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wall. I do want to say one more time, thank you very much, Tracy and Paula, for coming tonight. And we have proclaimed February 21st to February 28th as Telemiracle Week. And I've also signed a proclamation right here. If you ladies, one of you would like to come down and get it from City Hall. And thank you for coming tonight. And I too, I mean, everybody else, I'm so impressed with Telemiracle. I always have been. I'm so impressed with the local people involved. And like Councillor Christensen said, and many others said, the need has not went down, and we will continue. Those of us that are fortunate enough need to help out the less fortunate. And thank you for all you're doing. Thank you.
I have one more thing to say to everybody.
Go ahead, Paula.
I have had the privilege of being able to live pretty much across Canada in my life. My dad was military and we moved all over, but I've been able to call Swift Current home for about 23 years now. And it absolutely amazes me how much this city backs anybody that's wanting or needing help. And I know we're just kind of the vehicle to bring money and bring it from one to another. And we're kind of the vehicle in there. But even through COVID times, like Tracy had said earlier, we've had some pretty fantastic raffles and raised money. And we've probably done one of the best this year, trying to create new ways of bringing in money so that we can help things like Telemiracle. And also today was our National Day of Kindness. So we went through the school systems today and we gave donuts to all the staff and teachers today, just to say thank you for taking care of all the students and stuff during COVID. It can't be easy, both on staff, administration, teachers, and the children. But I just want to say it amazes me and quite humbles me very much to belong to Swift Current and this city and people like you on the council that help make it run. So from us to you guys, thank you for what you guys do.
And one more time, thank you. You do way more than us. Trust me. You really do. You really do. Thank you. With that, We're going to continue on with our council meeting tonight. We do not have any delegations or public hearings or public notice matters, orders this evening. So we'll move into items for action. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Cobbler, the General Manager of Corporate Services, to present the accounts, please. Ms. Cobbler, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, and good evening, members of council. Enclosed are the General Revenue Fund disbursements for the period of February 8th to February 12th, 2021. I respectfully recommend that $841,656.41 in disbursements be approved. Included in that amount is a payment of $364,000 for payroll benefits, payments of $70,000 and $90,000 for taxes collected on behalf of school supporters, a payment of $11,000 for costs associated with the downtown storm drainage study, as well as upgrades to the rural water network, a payment of $31,000 for the purchase of fuel for city vehicles, a payment of $12,000 for the purchase of computer hardware, as well as Microsoft Office software subscription renewals, a payment of $13,000 for costs associated with upgrades to the bulk water fill station, payment of $27,000 for JD Edwards financial software annual license renewal, payment of $25,000 for purchase of electrical system protection inventory dispersed throughout the electrical grid by the Light and Power Department, and finally a payment of $15,000 for costs associated with the landfill cover material contract for January 2021, as well as snow removal assistance.
Thank you, Ms. Cobbler. I will be looking for a motion to approve these accounts. Councillor Tunton-Weave.
I move that we approve the disbursements in the sum of $841,656.41 for the period of February 8th to 12th, 2021.
And could I have a seconder, please?
I will second that motion, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Christensen. Once again, we'll move through the speaking list, beginning with Councillor Schweitzer.
Thank you very much. Yep, thank you very much, Your Worship. The $25,000 to SEL Schweitzer Engineering Lab. You mentioned that was for something electrical related. Can I get more info on that?
Thank you. Good evening, Your Worship and members of council. Thank you, Councillor Schweitzer, for your question on these. This particular equipment are fault indicators that will be dispersed throughout, particularly in the underground system of the distribution grid, to allow the light and power staff to find faults or problems in the system and restore power quicker throughout when we have major outages.
That's all for me, Your Worship.
Thank you, Mr. Mencken. Thank you, Councillor Schweitzer. Councillor Tunton-Weave, any questions on these accounts?
I'm just wondering about the payment for $27,000 to the Oracle Corporation. It was for the JD Edwards financial software. Carrie, does that have anything to program?
It does in a very roundabout way. So JD Edwards is our legacy financial software system that we're migrating from into the new environment. So hopefully this is one of the last times that we do see this expense coming through for an annual license renewal.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tunton-Weave. And just a note of history, I remember when JD Edwards came on with the city, it's got to be 24 years ago, and it doesn't seem that long ago, and yet it's so outdated. We have spent a tremendous amount of money getting a new system in place, and it's just amazing the amount of money these computers take and computer programming takes. Anyway, Councillor Pluis, do you have any questions or comments here?
Nothing for me. Thanks, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. Councillor Friesen?
No further questions. Thanks, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. Councillor Christensen, anything?
Nothing for me, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. And Councillor Wall, any questions or comments?
Nothing for me, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now moved by Councillor Tunton-Weave and seconded by Councillor Christensen. All those in favor, please raise your hand. This motion has passed. Moving down the agenda, there are no reports for information or bylaws or any items under unfinished business. This brings us to new business. Council, I would be looking for a motion to receive and file the following information. Swift Current City Detachment Community Policing Report for January 2021.
Your worship, I will move that we receive and file this report.
Thank you, Councillor Schweitzer.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Wall. Are there any questions, starting with Councillor Schweitzer?
No questions. Looks like our local law enforcement has been busy enforcing traffic offenses, which are up significantly from this time last year. So yeah, just good on our local officers for staying busy.
Thank you very much. Councillor Tutton-Weeb, any questions or comments about this report?
Just out of curiosity, are any of the statistics having to do with traffic enforcement and tickets to do with increased cannabis use?
I'm not sure who can answer that. Ms. Cobbler, any chance you could or not?
Unfortunately, no, I don't have that information, but it's certainly something we could reach out to the RCMP on and respond back to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Councillor Pluis, any questions or comments?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Friesen?
Nothing from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Christensen?
Nothing for me, Your Worship.
And finally, Councillor Wall?
Nothing again for me, Your Worship.
Well, thank you very much. This motion was moved by Councillor Schweitzer and seconded by Councillor Wall. All those in favor, please raise your hands. This motion has passed. We do not have any items under communications. Next item on the agenda, we will have an item to be discussed in camera. I again invite the General Manager of Corporate Services to read her report. Ms. Cobbler?
Thank you, Your Worship. This is a request for an item to be discussed in camera. The subject of this request is related to contracts or proposals and is made under the Local Authority Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, Justification 16, advice, proposals, or recommendations developed by or on behalf of the city. This meeting is requested to be held immediately following this evening's council meeting via Zoom video conferencing. Those to be in attendance include the Chief Administrative Officer, General Manager of Corporate Services, and the City Clerk.
Thank you, Ms. Cobbler. I will be looking for a motion. Councillor Friesen?
Your Worship, I'll move that council go in camera immediately following this council meeting via Zoom.
Thank you, Councillor Friesen. And a seconder, please.
I can second that, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Pluis. Are there any questions? If there are, please raise your hand and I'll pick you out instead of going down the list. As I see none. Moved by Councillor Friesen and seconded by Councillor Pluis. All those in favor, please raise your hands. This motion has passed. I now invite the CAO to read the report that he has added to the agenda at the beginning of this meeting.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is a request for an item to be discussed in camera as well. It's subject contracts and proposals. It's under the Local Authority Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, Section 18. Positions or strategy developed for the purpose of negotiations on behalf of the city. It's a request to be held immediately following tonight's council meeting, and staff members to be in attendance are the General Manager of Corporate Services, the City Clerk, and myself.
Thank you, Mr. Marcus. Could I please have a mover for this motion? Councillor Tutton-Weeb.
I move that we go to in camera immediately following this meeting.
Could I have a seconder?
Your Worship, I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Schweitzer. Again, I'm just going to look around. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. If not, as I see no hands raised, this motion was moved by Councillor Tutton-Weeb and seconded by Councillor Schweitzer. All those in favor, please raise your hands. This motion has passed. We will continue with reports of council members, and I will open the floor to council for questions or comments for administration or any statements they wish to make. Once again, starting with Councillor Schweitzer.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I was able to attend my first meeting of the Drug Strategy Action Committee earlier this month, and it was a very productive meeting. Our MLA Everett Hindley joined us, and there was some great discussion about recovery and treatment and things of that nature during this pandemic, and making sure that detox and rehab were available. And it was nice to see the news today that Dory's House is going to be put to good use in Swift Current with 6 youth addiction treatment beds. And that's a very timely announcement. Last week, I was part of the SPCA Celebrity Pound. I was virtually jailed along with famed area photographer Chris Attrell and Katie and Kristen from Fusion. And happily, $500 was raised to go towards the SPCA. I did encourage donations by saying that I would attend the first market square of the season without restrictions, dressed as a cat. And that's something that I'm somewhat looking forward to carrying through with. So again, thank you to the SPCA for all the great work that they do in giving a voice to those that have none. The coldest night of the year fundraising walk happened this weekend. I imagine Councillor Tuntland-Wiebe has lots to say about that, and I'm going to defer to her because she raised a lot more money than I did, so she can have that subject. I just want to give a shout out to Southwest Saskatchewan. I just checked the Saskatchewan Health Authority stats today, and only 5 active cases in the Southwest region. That's a lot of discipline, and that's a lot of sacrifice. Our region has 5 active cases. The next lowest is just to the east of us, where they have 28. There's excitement happening now. The Swift Current Broncos announced that they're going to be playing in a hub in Regina. I believe their first hub game is going to be March 13th. And it's nice that people are talking about something other than COVID. People are talking about hockey and very excited about that. So very much looking forward to the Bronco season. And I thank Council and Admin for the initiative to go pink tonight as well. Bullying affects 1 in 5 children. And, you know, bullied children often end up becoming bullies as well. It's a vicious cycle. And I'm happy that Council and Admin is doing their part to raise awareness tonight by going pink. So that's all I have for this evening, Your Worship. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Councillor Schweitzer. I'm not sure you dress as a cat if that's going to attract people to the first weekend or detract, but I guess the jury's out on that. Councillor Tuntland-Wiebe, do you have some comments or questions?
Yeah, I do. I have a few things to report on tonight. The Great Plains College is having their Carhartts and Caviar welding raffle. They can't do their auction and fundraiser like they normally do. So you can find raffle tickets at different businesses in town. So if you see them, maybe buy a couple for them and help them out with their fundraising for the welding program. And I know Swift Current physician Dr. Tara Lee, who is our doctor, received the Canadian Association for Medical Education's Certificate of Merit Award for 2021. So kudos to Dr. Lee. She runs the Swift Current Family Medicine Program. It's based out of the Associate Family Physicians Clinic. And she said that she did her residency in Saskatoon, which is, of course, a big center, and it really differs from what the residents find when they come and train in a hospital the size of the city of Swift Current. And she says this program, when residents can come here and train here in Swift Current, helps us retain doctors in this area because they've got the training and they know what to expect in a smaller center. So it differs quite a bit from centers like Regina and Saskatoon. And we all know we need to retain doctors in our area and in the Southwest. So kudos to Dr. Lee. And yes, Ryan, I did beat you by a little bit in the coldest night of the year event. It was fun. I don't usually do things like that, but it's for the center, and the center is near and dear to our hearts. So we went to work and raised money. It was called the CNOY event, SCNOY, and that's coldest night of the year. It's a national campaign to raise monies for different organizations. Ours was the center, and traditionally it's held on the coldest night of the year, traditionally, which happens to be this past weekend, but we missed it by a week. And the reason that they choose to do the walk outside and in cold weather is so that those walking can face some sort of a hardship. It's supposed to bring to mind that other people don't have it as good as we do, that there are homeless people, and there are people suffering. So that's why they choose the coldest night of the year to walk, is so that we feel ourselves like we get cold. Well, that's nothing compared to what homeless people might encounter. So we lucked out. Saturday was beautiful, and their goal was $45,000. As last I heard, they had hit the $43,000 mark. So I had asked Nathan Weeb, who does a tremendous job in Swift Current, how much of that money actually stays in Swift Current. And 10 to 15% goes for administration fees to the organization. But he says what the center itself would have to spend on advertising and posters and marketing and collecting and writing receipts would cost them that much anyway. So he says it's far less work, especially in a year like COVID, when you can't have volunteers all around you, to have that organization do it for them. So we will clear probably by the end of the week. And I think the funds can be taken until March 26th. We'll probably clear the $40,000 that they had the shortfall of because of COVID last year. So that's absolutely awesome that there was 20 teams and we managed to raise $43,000. I had a meeting with Truth and Reconciliation last week to get everything in order for their 3 days of events. We have another meeting this week, and we're actually going to get to meet with Senator Murray Sinclair at our meeting and get a little taste of what he's going to bring to us on March 3rd. Second day is March 10th, and the presenter is going to be Zoe Roy. And March 17th will be Mary Culbertson and Zoe Roy. So it's the Truth and Reconciliation Speaker Series. What does reconciliation mean to you? And they're putting a lot of work into it. The college is involved, the high school is involved. The afternoon presentations will be sent out from the library, so they're for the whole public to see, and then it's going to be replayed on the YouTube channel afterwards, so people can actually watch any of these presentations from any of these speakers at any time. So they realize people at work aren't going to be able to stop work at 1:45 and go and watch the presenter speak, so it will be on YouTube. So thank you to the Landing Studio for being involved in this, and I'm sure as everything else that they do, it's going to be quite smooth and seamless when we all get together. Mayor Al is bringing greetings to that. They have some elders doing some, they wanted them to do blessings, but blessings can't be recorded. So they're calling them teachings, and teachings can be recorded. So most parts of this are recorded except for the actual speakers themselves. They'll be live. So I'm looking forward to that. That's March 3rd, 10th, and 17th. And if you can catch it, try and take in a session and see what they mean by what does reconciliation mean to you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Weeb. Councillor Pluis, any comments or questions?
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. Couple of things actually have been checked off my list, so I'm going to attempt to skip over those on the fly. But one thing that we've been hearing about in the media a little bit, and there was a nice one pager in our council package as well, I think bears some talking about, and that is the 2020 Saskatchewan Parks and Recreation Association Awards winner. Probably lots of you already know, but local person Rosalie Flynn, a volunteer extraordinaire in our community, was recognized as the provincial award winner this year. And I just want to read briefly what it says, is that the SPRA recognition program pays tribute to those individuals and communities who through their efforts and skills have made outstanding and extraordinary contributions to rec and parks in Saskatchewan. These award winners are helping to create a province where everyone can enjoy recreation and feel more connected to nature, our communities, and ourselves. So just a few of the points for Rosalie Flynn, who actually was a teacher back when I was in high school, I recall. What she's been up to since then in the last 20 years is she's been very instrumental locally as a volunteer in many, many things over the past 3 decades. As I mentioned, she was a physical education teacher. She was in 2016, was one of the co-chairs for the Ford World Women's Curling Championships that were held in our communities. That's a major undertaking that's volunteer-led. In 2017, she was trained as a leader in the Forever in Motion program, and she's been very instrumental in that program locally. In 2019, of course, along with many others, she was very involved in the success of the Western Canada Summer Games held here in Swift Current, again, as a co-chair of the Uniform Distribution and Accreditation Center, and many, many other things over the years in the community. So for 30 years of hard work and dedication and volunteer giving to our community, I just wanted to say thanks very much, Mrs. Flynn. Your work is very much appreciated by not just this council, of course, but by everybody in our community and the surrounding areas. Councillor Schweitzer mentioned the Pink Shirt Day anti-bullying message and the coolest night of the year. And I just wanted to say thanks to Councillor Tentland-Weeb, Councillor Schweitzer, Michael, Jackie, and I'm sure many, many others that I'm missing who took a very active role in that. Fundraising for, again, a really, really important cause in our community at the center. Great to know, Councillor Tentland-Weeb, thanks for sharing that they were very close to their fundraising goal. And in any event, it sounds like they have filled the gap that they had in their fundraising from the regular year. So that's really encouraging. I hadn't heard that. So thank you for sharing that. Again, Dory's House reopening locally here with provincial funding. Just wanted to say thanks to our provincial counterparts and locally here, Minister Everett Hindley, for the role that he had in making that happen as well. And of course, as Councillor Schweitzer said, that was provincial funding for youth addiction and treatment beds right here in Swift Current, not just for local youth, of course, but for youth all across the province. So happy to see that facility being used and put to good use. I wanted to mention as well that the City of Swift Current won the 2020 Economic Developers Association of Canada Award for the Marketing Canada Award for our website, which is growwithswiftcurrent.ca. That's our external advertising website. So if you haven't checked that out, I encourage you to do that. Obviously, if you haven't checked it out, it's worth doing because people from all across Canada have recognized it as being not just pretty good, but the best in Canada for the year. So definitely something to celebrate. I want to say thanks to all the folks in admin who worked hard in putting that together as well. This past weekend, I was honored to attend as the deputy mayor at that occasion, the grand opening of the Croak-a-Curl rink, I think it's called, not arena, or I'm going to go with rink. Mitch, feel free to pop in if you need to correct me on that. But I will say that I was, as deputy mayor, as lofty a title as that is, it pales in comparison to the folks that I had to stand there and cut the ribbon with. In fact, I felt fairly out of place because I was standing between an Olympian and the chair of Curling Canada when I, lowly deputy mayor, cut the ribbon to open that. But I just wanted to say thanks to those two individuals for attending and helping us to shine a light on this new facility in Swift Current. The media was asking me what it meant to me and what it meant to council, and hopefully I wasn't out of place when I said that, it's really great to see another outdoor activity for us in the, right beside the Sheldon Kennedy arena, the outdoor arena that we have, right beside the trails, super accessible, but another really great outdoor event that friends and family actually can gather for. An outside activity, a great excuse to get together with friends and family. And on that Saturday, I can't speak for what happened after that, but on that Saturday, it was fully booked, including by the Chufu family, who chased us promptly off the ice because we were infringing on their 10:30 time. So it was put to very good use, and it was a really neat facility. If you haven't gone to check it out, I really encourage you to do that. It was fun. I'll be definitely looking to book that with my kids in the near future as well. A couple other things here. Unfortunately, we've talked about mental health and the stigma around mental health quite a few times over the past number of years, and I think on this council as well. But really unfortunate to hear the news today that two members of police services across Canada committed suicide in the last 24 hours. A member of the Winnipeg Police Service and a member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police as a result of PTSD and struggles with mental health as a result of their job. So, I think that bears mentioning because the more we talk about these sorts of struggles with mental health, the more we normalize them and the more we end the stigma about them and hopefully encourage people, and unfortunately, largely men, are the ones who need this encouragement to get over the stigma and ask for help and seek that help, knowing that it's not something that makes you weak, and it's not something that makes you, less of a man or less of a person. It's, it's a health issue, just like any other health issue that requires treatment and requires you to actually seek that help. So, very discouraging, of course, to hear that news in Canada. And again, because I'm on city council, because I have an opportunity to talk about these things publicly, I wanted to mention that so that we can hopefully continue to normalize the discussion around mental health and encourage folks, in this case, in emergency services, to seek help when they need it. And then lastly, again, I just wanted to mention that Telemiracle is happening this weekend in Saskatchewan, and what a great example of why Saskatchewan is special, that you can see in Telemiracle. I've often said, from people across Canada, when I have an opportunity to meet them, whether through business or through my days in university competitions, that, Saskatchewan punches above its weight in so many ways. And this is clearly a great example of one of the ways that Saskatchewan and its people punch above their weight in raising the kinds of funds that they do for their neighbors and friends and family, and those, quite frankly, that they don't know. But I just wanted to end with that to make sure that people know that Telemiracle is happening this weekend, and to ring those phones. Thanks, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Councillor Pluis. Councillor Friesen, do you have any comments or questions?
Thanks, Your Worship. I just have a couple of things. I wanted to add a bit more to what Councillor Schweitzer talked about with the Swift Current Broncos and the season opening on March the 12th. I understand that the players are now self-quarantining in their homes as of February the 20th. And then on the 27th, they go to Regina and report into the hub. And there's all kinds of testing, and it's the very, very high standards of safety protocol. But so we hope that they can stay safe and stay away from the COVID and get those 24 games in that they're scheduled to play. This is an opportunity for particularly the younger players and their development. Certainly not a regular season by any stretch of the imagination. And it's going to be fairly expensive for the Swift Current Broncos to send those players in there and for that many days. And so they're looking for support, and that could come in the form of purchasing items at the stable, making donations, buying memberships. There's a number of ways that people can help out if they're interested. And we are hoping that next year it'll be a more regular year, and we can have people in the rink and get back to going to the Bronco games. One item that people might be interested in is that all those games are going to be streaming on WHL Live on CHL TV. So that's an opportunity for folks to tune in and watch the Broncos play. And also the plan is that these games are going to be broadcast on the Eagle 94.1. So watch for more details on that and when they get their schedule out and so on. But people will be able to tune into the radio or watch the games on streaming. So at least that'll give us another activity and a good way to follow the Broncos. I've had the opportunity to attend a couple of Swift Current and District Chamber of Commerce meetings now. And I just want to assure everyone that that is a very busy group of people. They've got so many things on the go, and I just wanted to mention a couple of things, Your Worship. The first one is that they are working with the United Way Community Futures and the Landing Studio to present a series of professional webinars, and there's going to be several of them. And the first one is this Wednesday, the 24th. And it's running over the noon hour, and it's entitled 211 Resource Navigation, and it's presented by 211 Saskatchewan. So, and there's all kinds of different topics, and if people are interested in some more information on that, they can just go to the Chamber website and they can get all the details and the dates and times of all these webinars, but certainly worth taking a look at. And the other thing I wanted to mention, and I'm pretty excited about, is the fact that they are working on an e-commerce website, which is going to be available for businesses throughout Southwest Saskatchewan and obviously consumers as well. And it's multi-vendor, so businesses will be able to set up a site. Consumers will be able to go in and shop locally. And it's looking like it's going to be awesome. So I encourage everyone to look for that. They're hoping to launch it near the end of March. And I think it's going to be a great way for us to shop local, promote local, and support our local businesses. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Friesen. Councillor Christensen, do you have any comments or questions?
Well, I had a few, but one of the hazards of being late in the list of on the list of speakers is the other council members, handled it perfectly in explaining all the stuff. So I won't jump on that. Other than our first presenter speaker tonight, Councillor Schweitzer made mention of going to the First Market Square dressed as a giant cat, and I'd like to suggest maybe we want animal control around there on that evening, and we can throw them back in jail and see if we can raise some more money. So with that, I'll sign off, Your Worship.
Well, Councillor Christensen, that's a great idea. A great idea. Could I have the big hoop that snags them? Anyway, Councillor Wall, do you have any questions or comments?
I echo Councillor Christensen's of everything's been covered that needs to be covered, and that's all I've got. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Councillor Wall. Thank you, Councillor, for all your comments. There's so many things. This is the part of the council meetings I enjoy more actually than the rest of the council meeting, because I always learn a few things. Some other things get sort of reintroduced. I did want to mention Dory's house tonight, and Councillor Schweitzer, you handled that very well. The Croker Curl, Councillor Pluis, COVID, it was mentioned once or twice, the numbers are down in the Southwest. We have got some vaccines last week, and we're supposed to be getting quite a few more this week. Canada supposedly is getting 640,000 doses this week from Pfizer and Moderna. So, and we're supposed to be getting some into the Southwest, which is wonderful. The Broncos, Councillor Friesen, they are going to start playing here in about a couple weeks' time. It'll be good to watch some of that on TV. And the last thing I wanted to mention is something that Councillor Pluis said about mental health. That is so important that we destigmatize it. And I know people say, oh, I'm getting tired of hearing that, but you break your arm, you break your leg, you go to the doctor, it's not a problem. But if you have some mental health issues, all of a sudden somebody wants to hide or they want to pretend it's bad. It's not bad. It's a medical condition. And just like Councillor Pluis said, we need to destigmatize that. And so thank you so much for bringing that up tonight. Now with that concludes the council meeting for the 22nd day of February 2021. I will be looking for a motion to adjourn this evening's meetings.
Worship, I'll move that we adjourn and go in camera.
Thank you very much, Councillor Pluis. A seconder, please.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Wall. All those in favor, please raise your hands. This motion is adjourned. We are now going to go in camera. Thank you.